Welcome to Dharma Wisdom Channel. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are endless and the pursuit of success often feels like a never-ending race, how can we find peace, clarity, and purpose? At Dharma Wisdom Channel, we believe that the answers lie within, not outside. This channel is dedicated to exploring timeless wisdom from Buddhist teachings and applying them to our modern lives. Here, we'll dive deep into the principles of silence, solitude, mindfulness, and self-discipline, helping you navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. Whether you're seeking inner peace, looking to develop a deeper connection with yourself, or wanting to simplify your life, you've come to the right place. Our goal is to help you cultivate a life of meaning, clarity, and purpose by embracing the profound teachings that have guided countless individuals to self-realization throughout history. Join us as we explore the wisdom that has stood the test of time, helping people transform their lives through reflection, meditation, and mindful living. Here at Dharma Wisdom Channel, you're invited to find your own path to peace and enlightenment. Are you ready to embark on a journey of inner transformation? Let's begin. Introduction. Embracing solitude to find clarity and purpose. In the noise of modern life, where distractions are constant and the pressures of success often come from external sources, it can feel like finding peace within ourselves is an impossible task. But what if the secret to clarity and purpose lay not in constant interaction with the world, but in embracing moments of solitude and quiet? Consider the story of a successful individual who achieved greater heights after disconnecting from external influences, finding solace in their own company. It's not an uncommon theme. Throughout history, figures like the Buddha and great thinkers have often highlighted the power of being alone in cultivating wisdom and insight. Have you ever wondered if solitude could be an asset rather than a barrier? Can the absence of distractions allow us to hear our own thoughts, rediscover our true desires, and pave the way toward personal growth? In today's hyper-connected world, we often look outward for answers, through technology, social media, and other people's opinions. Yet, the ancient wisdom of mindfulness, meditation, and self-reliance urges us to turn inward. It teaches us that true clarity comes from embracing silence and learning to listen to our inner voice. Through the lens of Buddhist philosophy, these principles can transform the way we live, offering timeless insights that guide us toward a life of purpose, peace, and self-discovery. This journey of self-reliance and introspection isn't about abandoning the world. It's about finding strength in moments of solitude to develop the mental discipline necessary to navigate the chaos of the outside world. Exploring the 10 principles for living with purpose and peace. The path to inner peace and self-discovery is rooted in understanding core principles that help us separate from external distractions and turn inward. By reflecting on these teachings, which are deeply embedded in Buddhist philosophy, we can learn to manage desires, cultivate mindfulness, and ultimately build a life of discipline and simplicity. Let's take a closer look at these principles, which, when embraced, provide a roadmap for leading a life of greater fulfillment and clarity. 1. Silence and solitude, a gateway to self-discovery. In a world constantly buzzing with noise and activity, solitude becomes a rare and precious gift. It is often easy to get lost in the distractions of everyday life, the constant rush of work, social media notifications, meetings, and the many demands that tug at our attention. In the midst of this external noise, finding moments of silence and solitude may seem impossible. Yet these moments are essential for our personal growth and self-discovery. The practice of solitude is not about escaping the world, but rather, it is about creating space for self-reflection and deep introspection. It is in the stillness of solitude that we can confront our inner thoughts, uncover our true selves, and begin to see more clearly the answers that are often obscured by the busyness of our external environment. We find that when we pause and disconnect from the noise around us, the answers that we have been seeking emerge from within. The example of the Buddha's quest for enlightenment. Take, for instance, the story of the Buddha. In his quest for enlightenment, the Buddha sought solitude under the Bodhi tree, away from the distractions and temptations of the world. For days, he faced his own thoughts, the darkness of his fears, doubts, and past experiences. In those moments of complete isolation, The Buddha confronted the deepest parts of himself and overcame the illusions of the self. It was in that profound silence that he discovered the true nature of suffering, its causes, and the path to liberation. Only through this deep inner journey did he gain the wisdom to teach the world about the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. This transformative process of confronting oneself in silence is something that anyone can experience. The Buddha's journey illustrates how retreating into solitude allows us to explore our own minds with greater clarity. It is only in quietude that we can truly hear our own thoughts, free from the distractions that shape and sometimes distort them. The importance of solitude for personal growth. When we choose to be alone, without the interference of external noise, we are gifted with the opportunity to develop clarity. In these moments of solitude, we create a space where our intellect and intuition have room to grow. Just like the Buddha did under the Bodhi tree, we can use solitude to explore our inner world and develop a deeper understanding of our thoughts, emotions, and motivations. Consider how often we allow external factors to dictate our choices. Society tells us what success looks like. Family and friends impose expectations on us. And the noise of daily life makes it hard to listen to our true desires. In solitude, we remove these distractions and return to a space where we can ask ourselves the deeper questions. What do I truly want out of life? What is my purpose? Am I on the right path? A modern example: Steve Jobs and solitude. A real-world example of the transformative power of solitude comes from the life of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc. Steve Jobs was known for his intense periods of introspection and time spent in solitude. One of the most famous instances of this was when Jobs went on a spiritual retreat to India, seeking wisdom and inner peace. During this period of reflection and quiet, Jobs confronted the questions of life, success, and his place in the world. This journey ultimately helped him to focus on what truly mattered and inspired the visionary leadership that led to the creation of revolutionary products like the iPhone, iPad, and iPod. Jobs himself believed that silence and solitude were essential to his creativity and decision-making. In interviews, he often mentioned how he needed quiet time to think deeply, away from the constant distractions of business and technology. It was in these moments that he was able to tap into a deeper sense of intuition and clarity, guiding him to make decisions that shaped the future of Apple. How solitude fosters self-discovery. In solitude, we begin to observe our own patterns, our habitual thoughts, our reactions to stress, and our underlying beliefs. We may begin to see the unconscious behaviors that have held us back or the fears that have prevented us from moving forward. Through quiet reflection, we gain insights into why we act the way we do, and we are empowered to change those patterns that no longer serve us. For example, many people find that when they spend time alone, away from the influences of others, they become more aware of their desires and goals. They may discover that they have been living according to others' expectations or based on societal definitions of success, rather than listening to their own internal compass. Solitude helps us tap into our inner wisdom, allowing us to make decisions that align with our true self. This principle of embracing solitude as a tool for growth is especially important in a world that constantly encourages busyness and external validation. By taking intentional time for solitude, we can develop a greater sense of self-reliance and trust in our inner voice, which becomes louder and clearer as we remove the distractions from our lives. Conclusion: solitude as a path to wisdom. This principle encourages us to embrace solitude, not as a burden, but as a tool for cultivating inner wisdom. Solitude is a sanctuary where we can listen to our inner voice, explore our deepest thoughts, and uncover our true potential. It is in these moments of stillness that we can make space for transformation, allowing us to move forward with clarity, peace, and purpose. Rather than seeking constant external stimulation, we are invited to look within, where the answers lie waiting. Just as the Buddha found enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, we, too, can find the strength and wisdom we need by embracing the silence and solitude that life offers us. In our modern world, solitude is not an escape, but a return to the self, a return to what is essential, what is true, and what is meaningful. By cultivating regular periods of solitude, we can experience profound growth, peace, and clarity in ways that are often impossible amidst the noise of our busy lives. 2. Detachment from external distractions, cultivating focus and peace. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere, from the endless notifications on our phones to the constant pressure of social media. The bombardment of information and demands can make it feel impossible to focus on what truly matters. We are constantly surrounded by distractions that pull us away from our goals and cloud our ability to think clearly. These distractions often lead us to act impulsively, react emotionally, and lose sight of our deeper aspirations. But detachment, especially in the context of Buddhist philosophy, is not about completely abandoning the world or disengaging from life. Instead, it is about freeing ourselves from the constant pull of external desires and opinions, which often dictate our choices and actions. The essence of detachment lies in the ability to disengage from the external noise and the distractions of the material world so we can reconnect with our true selves. Understanding detachment. A shift in perspective. Detachment, in the Buddhist sense, is not about renouncing life or material possessions, but about letting go of the emotional and mental attachment we place on external things. It is about releasing our dependence on approval, possessions, and external validation. When we are attached to these things, they begin to define our happiness and worth, leaving us vulnerable to the inevitable ups and downs of life. By detaching from them, we find inner peace and clarity, knowing that our value does not depend on the fleeting circumstances of the external world. The Buddha taught that attachment to worldly desires leads to suffering, because everything in the material world is impermanent. Whether it's the pursuit of wealth, fame, or status, these things come and go, and our sense of well-being becomes tied to things that are beyond our control. To free ourselves from suffering, we must detach from these external distractions and instead focus on cultivating a deeper connection with our own minds, hearts, and values. The power of detachment in creating focus. When we practice detachment, we intentionally distance ourselves from the constant stream of external distractions. This creates a mental space where we can focus on what is truly important. The act of detaching is not about avoiding life's responsibilities or cutting off from the world, but rather, it is about choosing where we direct our attention and energy. Consider how difficult it is to focus when our minds are cluttered with the latest social media posts, emails, or opinions of others. In moments like these, we are driven more by external influences than by our own thoughts and desires. Detachment allows us to step back from this constant pull, helping us to stay true to our internal compass and align our actions with our deeper values and long-term goals. In doing so, we are able to cultivate a life that is driven by intention rather than by impulse. The example of the Buddha's teachings on detachment. The Buddha himself taught the importance of detachment as a means to cultivate focus and inner peace. One of his core teachings was that clinging to desires and external outcomes causes suffering. By practicing detachment, we free ourselves from the cycle of craving, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with calmness and clarity. This principle allows us to face life's impermanence with grace, without being overwhelmed by the transient nature of success or failure. A powerful story from the Buddha's life that illustrates detachment is when he was offered great wealth and power by a wealthy family after attaining enlightenment. Instead of accepting the material offerings, he chose to live a simple life, embracing the path of renunciation. The Buddha's detachment from external wealth and comforts demonstrated that true peace comes not from acquiring more things, but from letting go of our attachment to them. A modern example, Warren Buffett's focused approach to investing. A more modern example of detachment in action is Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful investors. Despite being one of the richest men on the planet, Buffett is known for living a relatively simple life and staying detached from the distractions that often come with wealth. He avoids the media frenzy and doesn't seek out attention or fame. Instead, Buffett remains focused on his long-term investment strategy and the values that guide his decisions. Buffett's success can be attributed to his ability to stay detached from the short-term fluctuations of the stock market. While others may panic or chase the latest trends, Buffett remains grounded in his own philosophy, sticking to his principles and long-term vision. This detachment allows him to think clearly, avoid impulsive reactions, and focus on his goals without being swayed by external noise. Detachment and inner peace. Freedom from external validation. The power of detachment also lies in its ability to free us from the constant need for validation from others. In today's society, we are often conditioned to seek approval from others, whether through likes on social media, praise from colleagues, or recognition from society. This dependence on external validation can cloud our judgment, leading us to make decisions based on what others expect or what will be popular, rather than what truly resonates with us. By practicing detachment, we learn to validate ourselves from within. We no longer seek approval from others or define our worth based on external accomplishments. Instead, we cultivate a sense of self-worth that comes from within, grounded in our values, intentions, and sense of purpose. This allows us to make decisions that are aligned with our true desires, free from the fear of judgment or rejection. How detachment cultivates peace and purpose. When we detach from external distractions, we create space for peace and clarity. We can focus more on the present moment and less on the demands of the world around us. This creates a deep sense of purpose because we are no longer pulled in a million different directions by external influences. Instead, we can focus on our long-term vision and live in alignment with our values. For instance, a person seeking peace might decide to limit their exposure to social media, creating more time for self-reflection, meaningful activities, and personal growth. By detaching from the constant comparisons and opinions that social media often breeds, they regain control of their own thoughts and emotions, cultivating a peaceful and centered mind. Practical ways to practice detachment. Limit media consumption. Spend less time on social media or watching the news. Use this time to engage in activities that nurture your inner world, such as reading, meditating, or pursuing a hobby. Set boundaries in relationships. Learn to say no when others' demands or expectations conflict with your values or goals. Detaching from people-pleasing behaviors allows you to create space for what truly matters. Embrace simplicity. Simplify your life by focusing on the essentials. Let go of unnecessary possessions or commitments that drain your energy or distract you from your purpose. Mindfulness practice. Engage in mindfulness techniques that help you detach from automatic, reactive thoughts. Through mindfulness, you become more aware of your thought patterns and can choose not to attach to every fleeting thought or emotion. Conclusion. Aligning your life with intention. Detachment from external distractions is a powerful practice that enables us to live with focus, peace, and purpose. By freeing ourselves from the constant pull of material desires and external opinions, we create space to align our actions with our deepest values and aspirations. In doing so, we can lead a life that is guided by intention, rather than being ruled by the whims of external influences. The practice of detachment allows us to become more present, more centered, and more in tune with our true selves. It provides us with the mental clarity needed to pursue our long-term goals with unwavering focus, free from distractions and the need for external validation. 3. Mindfulness and inner awareness. The key to right action. In a world constantly rushing forward, filled with distractions and demands, it's easy to become disconnected from ourselves. We may find ourselves acting out of habit, reacting impulsively, or losing sight of our true intentions. This is where mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware in each moment, becomes a powerful tool for self-mastery and transformation. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment, being aware of our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. It is about observing what arises in our minds without attaching to it, and allowing it to pass without being carried away by it. This practice encourages us to cultivate a deep awareness of the present moment, rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. At its core, mindfulness is a practice of mental clarity and emotional regulation. By being mindful, we develop the ability to observe our thoughts, reactions, and behaviors with openness and curiosity. This awareness enables us to make conscious choices, rather than being swept away by automatic reactions or external pressures. Mindfulness and the Buddha's path to enlightenment. The teachings of the Buddha emphasize mindfulness as one of the key practices for understanding the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. In the Buddhist tradition, Mindfulness is often described as the ability to be aware of what is happening in the present moment, without judgment or attachment. Through mindfulness, we can learn to see things as they truly are, without the distortions created by our desires, fears, or assumptions. The Buddha's path to enlightenment was not a path of escape from the world, but a path of deep awareness. Through sustained mindfulness, the Buddha was able to observe the nature of his own mind, his attachments, and his habitual reactions. By becoming aware of his thoughts and feelings, he was able to transcend the ego and gain insight into the causes of suffering. This awareness allowed him to understand the Four Noble Truths and the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. Mindfulness, therefore, is not just about being present for the sake of relaxation, it is about gaining insight into the true nature of our existence. It is a tool for understanding our inner world, cultivating wisdom, and ultimately transforming our relationship with the external world. The practice of mindfulness, living in the present moment. In our everyday lives, mindfulness can be practiced in many simple, yet profound, ways. It involves paying attention to whatever we are doing in the present moment, with full awareness. This could be as simple as eating a meal, walking in nature, or having a conversation with a loved one. The key is to be fully engaged in the activity at hand, noticing every detail without judgment. For example, when eating, instead of rushing through the meal or scrolling through our phones, we can focus on the taste, texture, and aroma of the food. By bringing full attention to the act of eating, we connect with the experience of nourishment, rather than being distracted by thoughts or worries. Similarly, when walking, we can pay attention to the sensations in our feet, the rhythm of our breath, and the sounds around us. This practice helps us become more attuned to the present moment, rather than allowing our minds to wander into the past or future. The power of mindfulness in decision-making. One of the most powerful benefits of mindfulness is its ability to help us make better decisions. When we are mindful, we are less likely to act impulsively or out of habit. Instead, we can observe our thoughts and feelings in real time, allowing us to choose actions that align with our higher values and goals, rather than reacting to external pressures or emotions. For example, imagine you are faced with a difficult decision at work. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause and take a few moments to breathe and center yourself. By practicing mindfulness, you can observe the emotions that arise, perhaps fear, anxiety, or impatience, and recognize them for what they are. You can also become aware of any biases or assumptions that might influence your decision. Through this awareness, you are able to make a more thoughtful, intentional choice, rather than simply reacting from a place of fear or stress. Mindfulness creates the space between stimulus and response, allowing us to make decisions based on clarity and wisdom, rather than emotional reactivity. Real-life example: the power of mindfulness in conflict resolution. A practical example of how mindfulness can influence our actions comes from conflict resolution. Consider a situation where two colleagues are in disagreement during a meeting. Without mindfulness, we may react quickly, raising our voices or becoming defensive, which only escalates the conflict. However, by practicing mindfulness, we can choose a different response. Instead of reacting to the other person's tone or words, we can pause and take a breath. We can notice our emotional reactions, perhaps frustration or irritation, and acknowledge them without letting them control our actions. By remaining mindful, we can listen more attentively to the other person, understand their perspective, and respond with a calm and thoughtful approach. This mindful response not only helps to de-escalate the situation, but it also leads to more constructive communication and problem-solving. It is through mindfulness that we can transform how we interact with others and choose actions that promote harmony and understanding. Mindfulness and inner awareness. Understanding our motivations. Another crucial aspect of mindfulness is the development of inner awareness. By being mindful, we become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and motivations. This awareness allows us to recognize when we are acting out of habit, fear, or desire, and to choose a different, more conscious path. For example, we may notice that we often say yes to requests from others out of a desire to please them, rather than out of genuine willingness or alignment with our values. By becoming aware of this pattern, We can choose to act from a place of authenticity, setting healthy boundaries and making decisions that align with our true desires. Similarly, mindfulness helps us become aware of negative thought patterns, such as self-criticism or judgment. By observing these thoughts without attachment, we can begin to let go of them and replace them with more positive, compassionate thoughts. This inner awareness gives us the power to transform our internal dialogue and cultivate a more loving and supportive relationship with ourselves. Mindfulness in action. Cultivating the right mindset. Mindfulness is not just a passive observation of our thoughts. It is an active practice that requires effort and intention. To cultivate mindfulness, we must consistently bring our awareness to the present moment and develop a habit of conscious living. This requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to observe ourselves with openness and curiosity. By practicing mindfulness, we align our actions with our higher self. We make decisions that are based on clarity and insight, rather than fear or impulsiveness. Mindfulness helps us to live with intention, making choices that reflect our deepest values and aspirations, rather than reacting to external pressures or fleeting emotions. Conclusion. The transformative power of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a transformative practice that can help us navigate the complexities of life with calmness and clarity. By being fully present in each moment, we cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves, our motivations, and the world around us. Through mindfulness, we can break free from the cycles of unconscious reactivity and make choices that lead to greater peace, fulfillment, and wisdom. Ultimately, mindfulness is the key to right action. It helps us align our actions with our values, make thoughtful decisions, and live with greater awareness and intention. In the practice of mindfulness, we find the path to greater clarity, balance, and inner peace. 4. Discipline and simplicity. The power of a streamlined life. In the chaos of modern life, where we are constantly bombarded with demands, distractions, and competing priorities, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed. The more we accumulate, whether in terms of possessions, commitments, or distractions, the more difficult it becomes to focus on what truly matters. This is where the power of discipline and simplicity comes into play. A disciplined life, combined with the practice of simplicity, offers a path to clarity, peace, and purpose. The essence of discipline, structure and consistency. At its core, discipline is not about restriction or deprivation. It is about creating the structure and consistency necessary to pursue meaningful goals. A disciplined life allows us to prioritize what is truly important and to eliminate the distractions and temptations that pull us away from our aspirations. It is about developing habits that support our personal growth, rather than succumbing to habits that hinder it. Discipline is the force that keeps us aligned with our deeper intentions. It requires us to make conscious choices, setting boundaries that protect our time and energy. It also involves persevering in the face of challenges and staying committed to our path, even when the distractions of the world try to divert our attention. Buddhist monks. The power of simplicity and discipline. Buddhist monks are a powerful example of how discipline and simplicity can lead to a life of clarity and purpose. In the Buddhist tradition, monks live with an intentional focus on simplicity, reducing their lives to the essentials: meditation, study, and service. This simplicity enables them to cultivate a deep sense of inner peace, as they free themselves from the clutter and distractions that might cloud their minds. The discipline of daily practice, whether through meditation, chanting, or study, forms the backbone of a monk's life. This structure helps them stay grounded in their purpose, directing their energy towards spiritual growth rather than the accumulation of material possessions or the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Their lifestyle reflects a deep commitment to their values and goals, allowing them to experience profound clarity and mindfulness in every aspect of their day. The simplicity of the monk's life is not about renouncing the world, but about living with intention. By focusing on what is essential and removing the superfluous, they create space for spiritual development and inner peace. In this way, discipline and simplicity work together, creating a life that is both grounded and free from the distractions that lead to suffering. The role of simplicity in modern life. In our modern world, where we are constantly surrounded by noise and distractions, Incorporating simplicity into our lives can be transformative. Simplifying our lives does not mean living without comforts, but rather consciously choosing to remove the excess that takes our attention away from what is truly meaningful. Simplicity helps us focus on the essentials, allowing us to direct our energy toward our most important goals. For example, simplifying our environment can help reduce stress and mental clutter. When our physical space is organized and free of unnecessary distractions, we are able to think more clearly and focus on the task at hand. This practice is similar to the minimalist lifestyle, which encourages people to prioritize quality over quantity and to focus on the things that bring them true joy and fulfillment. Similarly, simplifying our schedules and commitments can help us avoid burnout and stress. By saying no to activities that drain our energy or do not align with our values, we make space for what is truly important. This may mean spending more time on meaningful relationships, pursuing a passion, or focusing on personal growth. Example: Steve Jobs and the power of simplicity. A well-known example of someone who embraced discipline and simplicity is Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc. Jobs was renowned for his ability to simplify complex concepts and products, focusing on what truly mattered. His commitment to simplicity was evident in both his product designs and his lifestyle. For instance, Jobs famously wore a simple black turtleneck, jeans, and sneakers every day, minimizing the time and energy he spent deciding what to wear. This seemingly small act was a reflection of his deeper commitment to reducing distractions and focusing on the work that mattered most. By simplifying his daily choices, he was able to direct his energy and attention to creating innovative products that transformed the tech industry. In addition to simplifying his personal life, Jobs emphasized simplicity in Apple's product designs. He believed that products should be intuitive, user-friendly, and free of unnecessary complexity. This approach, combined with his disciplined focus on innovation, helped Apple become one of the most successful companies in the world. Discipline, the strength to stay focused. While simplicity removes distractions, discipline provides the strength and consistency needed to stay on course. Discipline is what enables us to stick to our intentions, even when faced with challenges or temptations. It is the mental fortitude to say no to short-term pleasures in order to achieve long-term goals. For example, an athlete might adhere to a strict training regimen, even when they don't feel like it, because they are committed to achieving their goals. A writer might set aside time each day to write, even on days when motivation is lacking, because they have the discipline to stay focused on their purpose. This consistent practice of discipline, supported by simplicity, leads to mastery and accomplishment over time. The intersection of discipline and simplicity, a life of purpose. When we combine discipline with simplicity, we create a life that is clear, purposeful, and rooted in the present moment. The simplicity of our choices allows us to focus on what is essential, while the discipline ensures that we follow through on our commitments. Together, these principles allow us to create a life that is not bogged down by unnecessary distractions, but instead is directed toward our higher goals and aspirations. For example, someone pursuing a career in the arts might simplify their life by eliminating activities that don't contribute to their craft. They might reduce time spent on social media or other forms of entertainment and instead focus on creating, studying, and practicing their art. Through the discipline of daily practice and the simplicity of a streamlined life, they are able to hone their skills and make progress toward their goals. Similarly, someone pursuing personal growth might simplify their routine by focusing on the practices that nurture their mind, body, and spirit. This might involve setting aside time each day for meditation, exercise, and self-reflection, while removing distractions that hinder their progress. Discipline ensures that these practices are consistent, while simplicity ensures that the focus remains on what truly nurtures their well-being. Conclusion: a streamlined life leads to greater clarity and purpose. Discipline and simplicity are not just abstract concepts, they are powerful tools that can transform the way we live. By embracing discipline, we develop the structure and focus necessary to pursue our goals with consistency and purpose. By embracing simplicity, we remove the distractions and clutter that hinder our progress and keep us from living fully in the present moment. Together, These principles form the foundation for a life that is both grounded and free. A disciplined, simplified life enables us to stay true to our values, make conscious choices, and pursue our goals with clarity and intention. As we streamline our lives and focus on what truly matters, we create the space for deeper fulfillment and inner peace. 5. Letting go of desires. Freedom from attachment. Desire is a powerful force within the human experience. It drives our ambitions, motivates us to take action, and fuels our passions. However, in Buddhist philosophy, desire is often considered one of the root causes of suffering. The more we cling to our desires, the more we create an endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction, as we constantly seek fulfillment that never seems to last. This continuous desire leads to disappointment when our wants are unfulfilled. And even when we get what we want, the satisfaction is often short-lived. The core teaching of Buddhism urges us to let go of excessive desires. Not because desires themselves are inherently bad, but because our attachment to them causes suffering. To cultivate an attitude of non-attachment does not mean we abandon all desire, but rather that we learn to observe our cravings with mindfulness and not allow them to dominate our actions or emotions. This understanding allows us to experience life with greater freedom and peace. The root of suffering: desire and attachment. Buddhism teaches that suffering, or dukkha, arises from our attachments, especially our attachment to desires. These attachments arise because we mistakenly believe that our happiness depends on acquiring what we want or avoiding what we don't want. When our desires go unfulfilled, we experience frustration, disappointment, and dissatisfaction. When we do get what we desire, the joy is fleeting, and we are soon left wanting more. For instance, think about how often people desire things like wealth, power, or success, believing that once they attain these things, they will be happy and at peace. However, once these desires are fulfilled, they often find themselves wanting even more. As the initial satisfaction fades, the cycle of craving and attachment creates a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. This is the endless cycle that the Buddha sought to break through the practice of non-attachment. The practice of non-attachment, understanding the nature of our cravings. Letting go of desires does not mean we stop wanting things or striving toward goals. Instead, it is about understanding the nature of our desires and recognizing when they begin to control us. Non-attachment is about shifting our relationship with desire. It is not about rejecting the world or denying our natural urges, but rather about cultivating an awareness that our happiness is not dependent on the fulfillment of every craving. The key to non-attachment lies in the awareness that everything in life is impermanent, including the objects of our desires. The things we crave, whether material possessions, relationships, or status, are all temporary. Even if we achieve these desires, they will eventually change, fade, or be lost. Therefore, by releasing our attachment to them, we open ourselves to a deeper, more enduring sense of peace. Example: the story of the Buddha and his quest for enlightenment. The Buddha's life story is the most powerful example of letting go of desires. Before his enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama lived as a prince with every material comfort imaginable. He had access to wealth, power, and pleasure, yet he was deeply unsatisfied and restless. He realized that no matter how much he had, it could not bring him lasting peace or happiness. In his quest for the truth, the Buddha renounced all worldly pleasures and desires, choosing a life of simplicity and discipline. His journey of self-discovery involved overcoming attachment to his desires, understanding their impermanence, and realizing that true peace lies not in the fulfillment of cravings, but in the release of attachment to them. His enlightenment came when he discovered that by letting go of attachment, he could live in a state of inner freedom, unaffected by the constant pull of desires. The freedom of letting go, cultivating inner peace. When we practice letting go of excessive desires, we create space for a deeper contentment and peace. We stop relying on external conditions to define our happiness. Instead, we turn inward, finding joy in the present moment, regardless of whether we have obtained everything we want. This process of letting go involves recognizing when our cravings start to control us, and choosing to release them. For example, a person may feel dissatisfied with their job, constantly yearning for a promotion or a higher salary. While these desires are not inherently bad, they can create a sense of unease when they are the sole focus of the individual's attention. Letting go of the attachment to this desire does not mean abandoning the goal of career advancement. But it means finding peace in the present, regardless of whether that promotion comes immediately. By shifting focus to the present moment, the person can appreciate the work they are doing and find joy in the process, rather than constantly feeling dissatisfied with the lack of what they do not yet have. Real-life example: the shift in mindset of minimalism. A modern-day example of letting go of desires can be seen in the rise of minimalism. Minimalists consciously choose to simplify their lives by reducing material possessions and focusing on what truly adds value to their lives. The practice of minimalism is rooted in the understanding that the accumulation of things will not lead to lasting happiness. Instead, minimalists let go of the desire to own more and focus on experiences, relationships, and personal growth. For instance, the minimalist movement often encourages people to declutter their homes, reduce their consumerist tendencies, and focus on the essentials. This practice leads to freedom, as individuals no longer feel bound by the need to acquire more possessions or live up to societal expectations of success. Through this process of letting go, they experience greater clarity and peace. The paradox of desire: letting go to receive more. Ironically, when we let go of our attachment to desires, we often find that we receive even more. By releasing our constant craving for more, whether it is more possessions, recognition, or validation, we open ourselves to the beauty and richness of the present moment. We learn to appreciate what we have and to experience life more fully, without the constant anxiety that something is missing. For example, a person who has let go of their attachment to material possessions might find that their life becomes richer in relationships, personal fulfillment, and inner peace. Without the constant need to acquire more, they can focus on what truly brings joy: the connection with others, the experiences they create, and the growth they achieve as a person. The more we release our attachment to desires, the more we become open to experiencing the fullness of life. Conclusion: finding true freedom and joy. Letting go of desires is not about rejecting all wants or goals, but about freeing ourselves from the grip that these desires have over us. When we are no longer controlled by the constant pull of craving, we experience a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer bound by the need to acquire or achieve in order to be happy. Instead, we can experience life as it is, with contentment, joy, and peace, knowing that true happiness comes from within, not from external conditions. In practicing non-attachment, we let go of the illusion that our happiness depends on anything outside of ourselves. Instead, we find peace in the present moment, allowing life to unfold without the constant tension of unfulfilled desires. This release of attachment opens the door to a deeper, more lasting contentment that transcends the fleeting satisfaction of getting what we want. Through this process, we find true freedom and joy, free from the cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. 6. The power of meditation, a tool for inner peace. In today's fast-paced world, where external noise and internal pressures can easily overwhelm us, finding peace within can seem like an elusive goal. Yet, one of the most effective tools for cultivating inner peace is meditation. Meditation is not just a practice for relaxation, it is a profound tool for self-awareness, emotional balance, and mental clarity. Through regular practice, meditation helps us quiet the mind, reduce stress, and foster a sense of calm that permeates all aspects of life. Buddhist monks, who have practiced meditation for centuries, understand its transformative power. Meditation is central to their spiritual practice, enabling them to gain deep insight into the nature of the self, the world, and the interconnectedness of all things. For centuries, meditation has been a key tool for monks in their pursuit of enlightenment, and it offers profound benefits for those seeking peace and clarity in the modern world. Meditation is a tool for reducing stress. One of the most immediate benefits of meditation is its ability to reduce stress. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by information and demands, stress has become an almost constant companion for many. Meditation, however, offers a way to step back from this chaos and center ourselves in the present moment. When we meditate, we focus on our breath, our body, or a mantra, allowing us to let go of the endless stream of thoughts that often cause anxiety and stress. By turning our attention inward, we create a sense of distance from external circumstances. This process of mindfulness helps us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, preventing them from taking control of our emotional state. For example, a person experiencing work-related stress might take a few minutes to meditate. During this time, they focus on their breath, allowing their thoughts to come and go without attachment. As they do so, the intensity of their stress begins to diminish, and they return to their tasks with a clearer, calmer mind. This practice doesn't erase the challenges they face but helps them approach those challenges with greater composure. The Buddhist tradition. Meditation as a path to enlightenment. Buddhist monks have long known the transformative power of meditation. For them, meditation is not simply a way to relax or calm the mind, it is a path to understanding the true nature of reality. By practicing meditation, monks gain insight into the impermanence of life, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the nature of suffering. The Buddha himself achieved enlightenment through deep meditation under the Bodhi tree. It was through his meditative practice that he gained profound insight into the nature of existence and discovered the path to liberation. Meditation allowed the Buddha to transcend his personal desires and ego, leading to an awakening that changed the course of history. For Buddhist monks, meditation is an essential part of daily life. They use it to cultivate mindfulness, clear their minds of distractions, and develop wisdom. The practice of meditation allows them to see beyond the surface of things and experience the world with greater clarity and compassion. Meditation as a gateway to mindfulness and self-awareness. One of the key benefits of meditation is that it helps to cultivate mindfulness, the ability to be fully present in the moment. Without judgment, mindfulness is at the heart of Buddhist teachings, and it is a practice that can have profound effects on our daily lives. When we meditate regularly, we become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. This increased self-awareness allows us to recognize patterns of behavior and thought that may not serve us. It helps us to understand why we react to certain situations in certain ways and gives us the opportunity to choose how we respond. For instance, a person who practices meditation may notice that they often react with frustration when faced with a challenging situation. Through regular meditation, they become aware of this habitual response and can begin to shift their reaction. Instead of reacting impulsively, they can take a step back, breathe deeply, and approach the situation with calmness and clarity. Through this heightened self-awareness, we are able to make more conscious decisions, respond to situations with greater composure, and live in alignment with our true values and intentions. Meditation and emotional balance. Another powerful benefit of meditation is its ability to promote emotional balance. Many of us are deeply influenced by our emotions, often reacting to situations based on fear, anger, or sadness. Meditation helps us break free from the cycle of emotional reactivity by teaching us to observe our emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. When we meditate, we create a space between stimulus and response. Instead of immediately reacting to an emotion, we observe it with detachment and mindfulness. We recognize that emotions are temporary and that they do not define who we are. By practicing this non-reactive awareness, we learn to maintain emotional balance, even in the face of challenging situations. For example, someone who is prone to anxiety may use meditation to cultivate a sense of calm. Rather than allowing anxious thoughts to spiral out of control, they practice focusing on their breath and gently guiding their attention away from the anxiety. Over time, this practice can help them feel more grounded and less susceptible to being swept away by their emotions. Meditation as a foundation for resilience. One of the most profound benefits of meditation is its ability to build resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and difficulties. Meditation helps us develop the mental and emotional fortitude to face these challenges with grace and perseverance. When we meditate, we train the mind to remain steady, even in turbulent circumstances. Meditation helps us develop the ability to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. This creates a sense of inner strength and resilience, allowing us to face adversity with a calm and composed mind. For instance, an athlete might use meditation to prepare for an important competition. By meditating regularly, they cultivate focus, calmness, and mental clarity, which allows them to perform under pressure. Similarly, a person going through a difficult period in their life, such as the loss of a loved one, might use meditation to find peace and emotional balance during the grieving process. Real-life example: the transformation of Arianna Huffington. A real-world example of the transformative power of meditation can be seen in the life of Arianna Huffington, the founder of the Huffington Post. After experiencing a health scare due to stress and burnout, Huffington turned to meditation to help her recover and restore balance in her life. She discovered that meditation not only helped her manage stress but also provided a deeper sense of purpose and clarity. Huffington has since become a strong advocate for meditation, sharing her personal journey and encouraging others to make it a part of their daily routine. She attributes much of her success and well-being to her practice of mindfulness and meditation, demonstrating how this simple yet powerful tool can change lives. Conclusion: empowering ourselves through meditation. Meditation is one of the most effective tools for cultivating inner peace, clarity, and resilience. Through regular practice, we can reduce stress, increase focus, and promote emotional balance. Meditation helps us develop mindfulness, allowing us to be more present in our daily lives and make more conscious decisions. It empowers us to face the challenges of life with a calm and composed mind, rather than reacting impulsively to external circumstances. By incorporating meditation into our daily routine, we lay a strong foundation of peace, clarity, and resilience. Just as Buddhist monks have used meditation for centuries to gain insight and cultivate wisdom, we can use this powerful practice to transform our own lives. Meditation is a simple yet profound tool that can help us navigate the complexities of life with greater ease and grace, leading to a life of deeper fulfillment and inner peace. 7. Finding strength in aloneness. Embracing solitude as a source of power. In a world that often glorifies constant connection, interaction, and social validation, the idea of being alone can be unsettling for many. Solitude is frequently equated with loneliness, and the feeling of being alone is often associated with fear, isolation, and inadequacy. However, in Buddhist philosophy, aloneness is not seen as a negative experience but rather as a profound opportunity for personal growth, self-reliance, and inner strength. By embracing solitude, we open ourselves up to deep reflection, self-awareness, and a sense of empowerment that is rooted in the clarity and peace that only aloneness can bring. Rather than running away from our own company, aloneness gives us the space to fully connect with ourselves, to confront our fears and insecurities, and to find a sense of inner strength that is not reliant on the approval or validation of others. The practice of being alone is not about escaping from the world, but about re-engaging with it from a place of personal clarity and empowerment. It allows us to transcend external distractions and focus on our true selves, thus nurturing a deep sense of self-awareness and confidence. The Buddha's Path of Solitude, a journey toward enlightenment. The Buddha's journey toward enlightenment serves as one of the most powerful examples of the strength that can be found in aloneness. Before attaining enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, lived a life of luxury as a prince. However, he felt a deep sense of dissatisfaction with the superficial pleasures of his world. This feeling of emptiness led him to leave his royal life behind and embark on a journey of self-discovery. During this journey, the Buddha spent years in solitude, meditating and confronting his own fears, doubts, and internal struggles. It was through these solitary moments that he gained profound insight into the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. In solitude, he was able to transcend his ego, detach from worldly desires, and uncover the truth of existence. The Buddha's experience demonstrates that aloneness, rather than being a source of despair, can be a path to wisdom, self-realization, and empowerment. Through his solitude, the Buddha found strength that was independent of external circumstances. He realized that true peace comes not from seeking external validation or pleasure, but from an inner understanding of the self and the world. This is a powerful lesson for all of us. that the strength we seek does not come from the approval of others or the circumstances we find ourselves in, but from our ability to connect with our inner selves, unshaken by external judgments. The power of solitude in confronting our inner world. One of the most transformative aspects of spending time alone is that it gives us the opportunity to confront our own inner world, our doubts, fears, insecurities, and desires. In the silence of solitude, we are forced to face the parts of ourselves that we may have been avoiding or distracting ourselves from. While this can be uncomfortable at first, it is through this process of confronting our inner world that we can grow and develop greater emotional resilience. When we are alone, we can take the time to reflect on our lives, evaluate our decisions, and learn from our experiences without the influence of others' opinions. This self-reflection allows us to see our true potential, uncover our strengths, and recognize areas where we may need to grow. It is through solitude that we can develop the self-awareness necessary to understand our true desires, motivations, and values, and to make choices that are aligned with our authentic self. For example, someone might feel overwhelmed by the noise and demands of daily life. By taking time for solitude, whether through meditation, a retreat, or simply spending time in nature, they can create the mental space needed to evaluate their life's direction and gain clarity on their goals. This time alone allows them to connect with their deeper desires and make decisions from a place of calm and clarity, rather than being driven by external pressures. Aloneness is a path to self-reliance. Solitude also provides us with an opportunity to cultivate self-reliance. In a world where we are often encouraged to look to others for guidance, approval, or support, spending time alone teaches us to rely on our own inner resources. This does not mean that we must reject the support of others, but rather that we learn to trust ourselves and our own abilities to navigate life's challenges. By spending time alone, we develop the confidence to make decisions without the constant need for external input. We come to realize that we are capable of managing our emotions, solving problems, and pursuing our goals without needing constant reassurance from others. This self-reliance is empowering because it allows us to move through life with greater independence, knowing that we have the strength within us to handle whatever comes our way. For example, consider a person who is facing a difficult career decision. They might initially seek advice from friends, family, or colleagues, but by spending time alone, they are able to reflect on their values, passions, and long-term goals. In solitude, they gain the confidence to trust their own judgment and make a decision that aligns with their true self, rather than seeking external validation. Aloneness in modern life, a source of resilience. In the modern world, where constant connectivity and social pressures are the norm, the ability to find strength in aloneness is more important than ever. Solitude allows us to step back from the demands of social media, work, and relationships, and reconnect with our true selves. It provides the mental and emotional space needed to develop resilience, our ability to withstand life's challenges without losing our sense of self or our peace of mind. Resilience is built in moments of solitude. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to process our emotions, heal from past wounds, and build the mental fortitude needed to face life's uncertainties. This process of self-healing and growth strengthens our inner resolve, making us better equipped to handle difficult situations in the future. For instance, someone who has gone through a difficult breakup might initially feel heartbroken and lost. By spending time alone to process their feelings and reflect on the lessons learned from the experience, they begin to rebuild their sense of self. Through solitude, they find strength in their ability to heal and move forward, becoming more resilient and better prepared for future relationships. Real-life example: Steve Jobs and the power of solitude. A real-world example of the strength found in aloneness can be seen in the life of Steve Jobs. Jobs was known for his intense periods of solitude and reflection, which allowed him to focus on his vision for Apple. He would often retreat from the demands of the business world to reflect on the company's direction and to develop new ideas. During these solitary moments, Jobs was able to tap into his creativity, intuition, and inner wisdom, which played a significant role in his success. Jobs himself often spoke about the importance of aloneness in his life. He believed that in moments of solitude, he could step away from the distractions of the external world and gain clarity on the bigger picture. This period of introspection was essential for his personal and professional growth, and it enabled him to lead Apple to its groundbreaking innovations. Conclusion: embracing aloneness for greater empowerment. Aloneness, when embraced, becomes a powerful tool for personal growth, self-reliance, and empowerment. It allows us to confront our inner world, develop resilience, and cultivate a deep sense of inner strength that is not dependent on external circumstances. The Buddha's path of solitude shows us that aloneness is not a weakness, but a path to enlightenment, wisdom, and true self-understanding. In a world that often encourages us to seek validation from others, solitude provides the opportunity to turn inward, connect with our true selves, and find strength that is independent of external influences. By embracing moments of aloneness, we can gain the clarity, peace, and confidence needed to live a life that is authentic, purposeful, and empowered. Solitude is not about isolation, it is about connection with our true selves, our potential, and the deep well of strength that lies within. When we embrace aloneness, we discover a wellspring of inner power that allows us to face life with greater wisdom, courage, and peace. 8. Self-reliance and independence. Cultivating inner strength and autonomy. Self-reliance is one of the most important principles in Buddhist teachings. It is a call to cultivate independence and inner strength by looking within for guidance and support, rather than relying on external sources for validation or happiness. The principle of self-reliance encourages us to take full responsibility for our own actions, decisions, and well-being. It teaches us that we are the masters of our own lives. And true empowerment comes when we no longer depend on others or external circumstances to define our happiness or success. In the fast-paced and interconnected world we live in, it can be tempting to seek approval, comfort, and direction from others, whether it's in the form of validation from friends, family, or social media. The pressure to conform to external expectations can easily lead us to lose touch with our own inner voice. Self-reliance teaches us to break free from this cycle of dependence and to trust ourselves to navigate life's challenges with confidence and wisdom. The Buddha's journey, a model of self-reliance. The Buddha's life provides a powerful example of self-reliance. Born as Siddhartha Gautama, he had every luxury available to him as a prince. Despite this, he felt a deep sense of dissatisfaction and disillusionment with the external pleasures of life. Realizing that wealth, power, and status could not provide him with lasting happiness, Siddhartha chose to leave his royal life behind and embark on a journey of self-discovery. What makes the Buddha's journey particularly significant in terms of self-reliance is that he did not seek wisdom from others in the traditional sense. Instead, he turned inward, relying on his own experiences, intuition, and insights to understand the nature of suffering and the path to enlightenment. He practiced extreme asceticism, meditation, and self-reflection, ultimately finding enlightenment under the Bodhi tree through his own efforts. The Buddha's path of self-reliance demonstrates the power of looking within to discover the truth and develop the wisdom necessary to navigate life's challenges. Rather than depending on others for answers, he trusted himself to find the way forward. This same trust in our own inner wisdom is something we can all cultivate in our own lives, allowing us to move through life with greater clarity and confidence. The importance of inner security. Cultivating stability from within. Self-reliance is not about rejecting help from others, but about fostering inner security, a sense of confidence and stability that is not dependent on anyone or anything outside ourselves. In today's world, many people rely on external factors like material wealth, status, or approval from others to feel secure. However, these external factors are transient and often beyond our control. What happens when these external sources of security are taken away? Or when life presents unexpected challenges? The principle of self-reliance encourages us to develop a sense of inner security that remains steady even in the face of uncertainty. This inner security comes from trusting ourselves, our values, our abilities, and our capacity to handle whatever life may bring. When we cultivate this inner strength, we are no longer swayed by external circumstances or the opinions of others. We can weather the storms of life with calmness and confidence, knowing that we are in control of our own responses and decisions. For example, A person who has developed self-reliance might face a career setback, such as a job loss or demotion. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or relying on others to reassure them, they trust in their own abilities and resilience. They take the necessary steps to assess the situation, adjust their approach, and find a new opportunity that aligns with their values and goals. This inner strength allows them to stay grounded and move forward with purpose, rather than being shaken by the external circumstances. Self-reliance in decision-making, the power of personal responsibility. Self-reliance is also about taking full responsibility for our decisions and actions. In today's society, it can be tempting to blame others or external factors when things don't go as planned. However, true self-reliance involves recognizing that we have the power to shape our own destiny and that the choices we make have a direct impact on our lives. The Buddha's teachings remind us that we are responsible for our own actions and reactions. In the Dhammapada, a key Buddhist text, the Buddha says, "Mind is the forerunner of all actions. All that we are is the result of what we have thought." This reinforces the idea that our thoughts, words, and deeds are the result of our own internal state. By cultivating awareness and taking responsibility for our mental and emotional states, we gain the power to transform our circumstances and create a life that reflects our true values and aspirations. For instance, an individual seeking to improve their health may face challenges like poor eating habits or lack of motivation. Instead of blaming genetics or external factors, they recognize that they have the power to make healthier choices. By taking responsibility for their actions and committing to positive changes, they can transform their lifestyle and create better health outcomes for themselves. This approach demonstrates how self-reliance empowers us to make decisions based on our goals and values, rather than reacting to external pressures or circumstances. Embracing independence in relationships. Self-reliance also plays a crucial role in our relationships. Many people seek to find happiness or validation through others, whether it's in romantic relationships, friendships, or family dynamics. While relationships can offer support and companionship, true fulfillment comes when we cultivate self-reliance and independence. This doesn't mean being emotionally distant or detached from others, but rather finding a balance between interdependence and personal autonomy. A self-reliant person understands that their happiness is not dependent on others. They are able to enjoy relationships without becoming overly reliant on them for validation, security, or emotional well-being. For example, in a romantic relationship, one partner who is self-reliant may not seek constant approval or reassurance from their partner. Instead, they rely on their own sense of self-worth, which allows them to engage in the relationship from a place of strength and mutual respect, rather than neediness or dependency. Real-life example: Oprah Winfrey's journey to self-reliance. A well-known example of self-reliance in modern life can be seen in the journey of Oprah Winfrey. Oprah faced significant challenges throughout her life, including growing up in poverty and experiencing numerous setbacks in her career. However, she did not rely on external circumstances or validation from others to define her success. Instead, she turned inward, relying on her own determination, resilience, and inner wisdom to navigate her journey. Oprah has often spoken about how her spiritual practices and her belief in her own abilities played a crucial role in her success. She made conscious decisions to take responsibility for her life, rather than blaming her circumstances. This self-reliance enabled her to create a powerful media empire and inspire millions of people around the world. Her story is a testament to the power of self-reliance in overcoming adversity and achieving true success on one's own terms. Conclusion: empowering ourselves through self-reliance. Self-reliance is a cornerstone of personal growth and empowerment. By cultivating inner strength and autonomy, we become the masters of our own lives. The Buddha's journey shows us that true wisdom and peace come from within. And by relying on our own experiences and insights, we can navigate the challenges of life with confidence and clarity. Self-reliance is not about rejecting help from others, but about understanding that we have the power to shape our own destiny. By taking responsibility for our actions and decisions, we create a life that reflects our true values and aspirations. In embracing self-reliance, we empower ourselves to live with purpose, independence, and inner peace. 9. Transcending ego. Letting go of the self to find peace. The concept of ego, or the sense of I and mine, is central to much of human experience. The ego is the mental construct that we cling to in order to define who we are. It is our sense of identity, and it shapes our perceptions, thoughts, and actions. While the ego plays an important role in helping us navigate the world and establish our individuality, it also has a darker side. When we become overly identified with the ego, it can create division, conflict, and suffering. The ego drives us to compare ourselves with others, to defend our identities, and to protect our self-image. We constantly seek external validation, and in doing so, we create barriers that prevent us from truly experiencing peace and connection with others. Buddhism teaches that the ego is an illusion, a false sense of self that we construct in order to create a sense of stability and meaning. However, this illusion prevents us from understanding the deeper truth of who we are. According to Buddhist philosophy, the ego is a source of suffering because it keeps us trapped in a cycle of desire, attachment, and self-centeredness. True peace and liberation come when we transcend the ego, letting go of the need to protect, defend, or define ourselves based on external markers of success or validation. Transcending the ego is a process of letting go of the constant need to prove ourselves, to compare, or to assert our dominance in the world. It is a process of surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in releasing the hold that the ego has over us. In doing so, we make space for humility, openness, and a deeper sense of interconnectedness with all beings. The illusion of the ego, a barrier to true connection. At the heart of the ego is the notion of separateness, an underlying belief that we are separate from others and the world around us. This belief in separateness leads to the creation of boundaries, labels, and judgments that divide us from one another. When we view ourselves through the lens of the ego, we see others as either competitors, threats, or tools for our own advancement. This separation fuels feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, and conflict. For instance, when we compare ourselves to others, the ego fosters a sense of competition. We might feel superior to those we perceive as less successful, or inferior to those we admire. These comparisons create emotional turbulence. As we constantly seek validation and approval from the outside world, we may seek accolades, possessions, or praise in order to affirm our sense of self. But this external validation is fleeting and never truly satisfies the ego's demands. Buddhism teaches that the ego is an illusion because it is based on impermanent conditions. Our roles, possessions, appearances, and achievements are all transient. The I that we cling to is constantly changing, and so it cannot be the true essence of who we are. The Buddha pointed out that by clinging to the ego, we trap ourselves in suffering, as we are constantly at war with the world, seeking to protect, defend, or enhance the fragile self-image that we've built. The path to transcending ego, embracing humility and openness. Transcending the ego involves shifting our awareness from the small, isolated self to the larger, interconnected whole. It requires us to let go of the attachment to our identity, roles, and possessions. This doesn't mean that we lose ourselves or our individuality, rather, we begin to recognize that our true nature is not bound by these limited definitions. We start to see that we are part of something much larger, the collective fabric of life, interconnected with all beings. Humility is one of the key virtues that help us transcend the ego. Humility involves recognizing that we do not have all the answers, and that our knowledge and abilities are limited. It is the willingness to learn from others and acknowledge that we are not superior to anyone. Humility frees us from the need to prove ourselves, allowing us to approach life with openness and curiosity, rather than defensiveness and arrogance. In Buddhism, humility is not about self-deprecation or feeling inferior. It is about seeing ourselves as we truly are, human beings who are part of a vast, interconnected world. Humility allows us to drop the pretensions that the ego holds onto and to see others as equal and deserving of respect. When we embrace humility, we let go of the need to assert dominance or seek recognition, and we make room for deeper compassion and connection with those around us. The freedom of letting go, surrendering the ego. The process of transcending the ego requires us to surrender the constant need for validation, control, and comparison. This surrender is not a passive resignation, it is an active release of the mental and emotional patterns that reinforce the ego's dominance. When we let go of the ego, we no longer feel the need to protect our self-image or prove our worth. We begin to experience a profound sense of freedom because we are no longer bound by the endless cycle of self-referencing. For example, consider someone who constantly seeks approval from others, whether it's through social media likes, praise from colleagues, or validation from friends. The ego thrives on these external forms of affirmation. But the more we seek validation, the more dependent we become on others' opinions, and the less content we feel in ourselves. When we begin to transcend the ego, we learn to find contentment in simply being. We recognize that our worth is not defined by external factors, and we no longer feel the need to seek approval or validation from others. This surrender of the ego allows us to experience true peace, free from the turmoil of constant self-referencing and external comparison. Real-life example: the transformation of Nelson Mandela. One of the most powerful examples of transcending the ego in real life is the transformation of Nelson Mandela. As a young man, Mandela fought for his own identity and the rights of his people, driven by the desire to overthrow apartheid and establish justice. However, during his 27 years in prison, he underwent a profound personal transformation. The solitude and hardship of prison led him to transcend his own ego. And he came to see that the struggle was not about his personal victory but about the collective liberation of all people. Mandela's ability to let go of his personal grudges and resentment after his release from prison was a testament to his ability to transcend the ego. He did not seek personal revenge or recognition. Instead, he embraced forgiveness, unity, and reconciliation, which ultimately played a crucial role in healing a divided nation. Mandela's humility and openness allowed him to lead South Africa toward a more inclusive future, demonstrating the transformative power of letting go of the ego. The peace of non-self, transcending ego to find connection. When we transcend the ego, we experience a state of inner peace that is not disturbed by the fluctuations of pride, fear, or insecurity. We no longer feel the need to defend our identity, and we can simply be. This peace comes from the realization that the self we cling to is not the ultimate reality. Our true nature is interconnected with all beings, and we are part of a larger, universal consciousness. In Buddhism, this state of non-self, anatta, is central to the path of liberation. It is the understanding that our sense of self is fluid and impermanent, and that true peace comes from recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. By letting go of the ego, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with others and with the world, free from the barriers that the ego creates. Conclusion: finding freedom in the surrender of the ego. Transcending the ego is a powerful path to true peace, freedom, and connection. By letting go of our attachment to the self and embracing humility, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of comparison, judgment, and self-referencing. As we surrender the ego, we experience a profound sense of interconnectedness with all beings, and we come to understand that true peace lies not in defending or asserting our identity, but in surrendering the need to protect it. In this state of non-self, we find freedom from the constant turmoil of the ego, and we are able to experience life with openness, compassion, and wisdom. Transcending the ego is not a rejection of the self, but an awakening to the deeper, universal truth that connects us all. In this liberation, we discover a lasting peace that transcends the fleeting desires and attachments of the ego. 10. Living with purpose. A life guided by meaning and intention. Living with purpose is one of the most powerful ways to navigate life. It involves deeply understanding why we do what we do and aligning our actions with our most profound values and aspirations. When we live with purpose, every decision we make, every action we take, becomes part of a larger story that reflects who we truly are. It's about finding meaning in our daily lives, even in the small, mundane tasks, and understanding how those tasks contribute to a greater goal or vision. The Buddha's teachings emphasize the importance of living intentionally. According to Buddhist philosophy, living with purpose helps us maintain clarity, direction, and inner peace. It allows us to avoid being swayed by the distractions, temptations, and judgments of the world, and instead focus on what truly matters. When we live with purpose, we make decisions that align with our higher values, not those that society or others impose on us. A life guided by purpose offers a sense of coherence and stability amidst the chaos and challenges that life inevitably presents. It acts as a compass, steering us through uncertainties and difficulties. In the face of adversity, purpose provides the strength to persevere, helping us stay focused on our path. Through the pursuit of meaningful goals, we gain the wisdom to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. The Buddha's teachings, living with intention. The Buddha's life is a model of living with purpose. Before he became the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama had everything, a life of luxury, wealth, and power. However, he felt a deep sense of dissatisfaction. The realization that the pleasures of the material world could not bring lasting peace led him to renounce his royal life and seek a deeper meaning in existence. Through years of meditation and self-reflection, the Buddha discovered the importance of living with intention, aligning actions with wisdom, compassion, and the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. His purpose was not driven by personal gain or external recognition, but by the desire to relieve suffering in the world and share the path to enlightenment with others. By focusing on this purpose, the Buddha found clarity in his own life. He could face hardships, temptations, and distractions because he was grounded in a purpose greater than himself. His teachings on mindfulness, right action, and the Eightfold Path provide a roadmap for living with intention, helping us to direct our lives with a sense of meaning and direction. Purpose as a compass. Finding direction in life. Living with purpose acts as a compass that guides us, particularly in times of uncertainty or struggle. Without a clear sense of purpose, we may wander through life, caught in the currents of external influences, societal pressures, or momentary desires. We might drift from one goal to another, often feeling unsatisfied or disconnected from what truly matters. When we live intentionally, we are not tossed about by the waves of external distractions. Instead, we develop a clear vision of our goals, values, and aspirations, and every action becomes an expression of this deeper purpose. Whether it is a career choice, a relationship, or a personal goal, when we align our decisions with purpose, we gain the strength to navigate life's obstacles with resilience and determination. For example, someone who is passionate about environmental sustainability may choose a career in environmental science or activism. Their purpose in life is to protect the earth, and this sense of purpose guides their choices. Whether it's pursuing higher education, advocating for policies, or participating in community projects. Even when challenges arise, such as public resistance or setbacks, they can continue to move forward because their actions are driven by a deeper purpose. The clarity of their goal allows them to remain focused and resilient in the face of adversity. Staying focused on what truly matters. Living with purpose also helps us filter out distractions and stay focused on what truly matters. In today's world, we are bombarded with countless distractions, social media, consumerism, societal pressures, and more, that often pull our attention away from our deeper aspirations. These distractions can lead us to lose sight of our true goals and become trapped in the pursuit of external validation. When we are clear on our purpose, we can resist these distractions. For instance, a person who values personal growth might find it easier to ignore superficial desires for status, wealth, or material possessions because they are focused on developing themselves emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They understand that the true measure of success lies not in what others think of them, but in their ability to live authentically and in alignment with their values. By living with purpose, we learn to prioritize our time, energy, and resources toward the things that will bring us fulfillment, rather than getting caught up in the endless cycle of consumption and comparison. The strength to persevere. Resilience through purpose. Living with purpose gives us the resilience to persevere through life's difficulties. Challenges are inevitable, and without a sense of purpose, it's easy to become discouraged when faced with setbacks or obstacles. However, when we are driven by a meaningful goal, we find the strength to keep moving forward, even in the face of adversity. Consider the example of Thomas Edison, who faced countless failures and setbacks in his quest to invent the light bulb. Despite facing rejection and criticism, Edison's purpose, to bring light to the world, kept him focused. He saw each failure as a step closer to success, knowing that the pursuit of his goal was worth the effort. His resilience, fueled by a deep sense of purpose, eventually led to one of the greatest inventions in human history. Similarly, someone who has a purpose in overcoming a personal challenge, such as recovering from an illness or addiction, can draw strength from their sense of purpose. Instead of feeling defeated by setbacks, they focus on their goal of healing or achieving personal transformation, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is part of a larger journey. A life of meaning, fulfillment through intentional living. Living with purpose also brings a sense of fulfillment that is not dependent on external outcomes or achievements. When we align our actions with our deepest values, we experience a profound sense of meaning, knowing that we are contributing to something larger than ourselves. This fulfillment does not come from the fleeting satisfaction of material success, but from the alignment of our actions with our true purpose. For instance, a teacher who is deeply passionate about educating and inspiring young minds may find fulfillment in seeing their students succeed. Even if the financial rewards are modest, their purpose in life is to make a positive impact on others. And this sense of meaning sustains them, regardless of the external recognition or rewards they receive. Similarly, an artist may find fulfillment not in the commercial success of their work, but in the process of creating and sharing their vision with the world. Living with purpose creates a life that is rich in meaning and deep fulfillment, as every action becomes a reflection of our highest aspirations. Real-life example: the Dalai Lama's purpose-driven life. A powerful example of living with purpose is the life of the Dalai Lama. Throughout his life, the Dalai Lama has been guided by the purpose of promoting compassion, peace, and understanding. Despite the many challenges he has faced, including being exiled from Tibet and enduring political pressure, his purpose has remained steadfast. The Dalai Lama's purpose gives him clarity and strength, enabling him to persevere in the face of adversity. His life is a testament to the power of living intentionally, by aligning his actions with his purpose of spreading kindness and wisdom. He has inspired millions of people around the world to live more compassionate and purposeful lives. Conclusion: living with purpose is a path to fulfillment. Living with purpose provides clarity, direction, and fulfillment. When we are clear on our values and goals, we can navigate life's challenges with resilience and determination. Purpose acts as a guiding compass, allowing us to stay focused on what truly matters and to persevere through difficulties with strength and conviction. It gives us the wisdom to appreciate the journey and to find meaning in every step we take. By living intentionally, we align our actions with our deepest values and aspirations, creating a life that is rich in meaning and fulfillment. Purpose gives us the strength to face adversity and the wisdom to live with peace and clarity. When we live with purpose, we find not only success but deep, lasting satisfaction, knowing that our lives are guided by something much greater than ourselves. Conclusion: live with purpose. Live with meaning. Living with purpose is the key to finding clarity, resilience, and fulfillment in life. When we clearly understand our values and goals, we can face challenges with determination and strength. Purpose acts as a guiding light, helping us stay focused and true to what truly matters. Even amidst distractions and external opinions, it creates a meaningful life, where every action is a reflection of our deepest values. Make your life more fulfilling by living with purpose and intention. Don't let external factors define your life. Take charge of your own path, and every step you take will be a part of your amazing journey. If you found these principles meaningful and want to explore more deep lessons from Buddhist philosophy and mindful living, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Join us as we continue this journey of self-growth, mindfulness, and purposeful living. Feel free to share this video with friends and loved ones to spread these valuable insights. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.